So it begins. I get asked all the time, is it worth coming to Thailand during rainy season? Well, today I'm gonna let you know. Now, of course, there are pros and cons to everything, and riding over here, I'm actually in like central Pattaya right now. Had to come to the mall, I gotta grab a few things, get a little bit of shopping done. There's some stuff I've been putting off, but making my way over here reminded me of the first con of rainy season, and that really is when it's raining a lot, your odds for transportation go down quite a bit, because unfortunately a lot of the transportation here is done by motorbikes, and obviously those guys don't want to ride in the rain, they don't want to get wet, they don't want to crash, so it kind of makes sense. This also, unfortunately, goes for food delivery as well. If you're just like, oh, I'm gonna stay in for the day, order some food, drink some coffee, it's gonna be a little bit harder. You can still get stuff. Sorry about the LEDs. It doesn't matter what I do with my FPS. I've tried to get it right, but they're gonna flash a little bit. But if you're thinking about just ordering some food, unfortunately, this is much, much harder when it's raining, if not near impossible. So that's one thing to think about. If you are here and it's raining and you don't have your own mode of transportation, that's something that you're gonna have to prepare yourself for. Side note, on my way here, I passed the first condo that I ever lived in. When I first got to Pattaya, it was an Airbnb. It was shit, I hated it, but I noticed the 7-Eleven that was on the corner. My first Thailand 7-Eleven is gone. They demolished it, they tore it down. I feel like I lost a homie. Now, not only is the availability of taxis gonna change, the availability with everything is gonna change, but this can also be a good thing. Sometimes if you're coming during the busy season, it can be really hard to find a good condo and a place that you like for a price that you like. Granted, when nobody's here, when it's rainy season, not as many people, can be a little bit more readily available. Restaurants, all that stuff, just everywhere in general is gonna be a lot less busy, so that's definitely more convenient. And going with that, same thing, prices. Now, granted, restaurants and stuff like that aren't really gonna change, and if they do, it's not really gonna be noticeable. But when it comes to accommodation, places that you're looking for, when it comes to rentals, things like that, all those prices are gonna drop pretty significantly. Some places won't, a lot of places will, just because obviously they're trying to fill those rooms up. So if you are planning on coming in rainy season, you might be able to find a spot for a lot cheaper than you normally would. Another thing that can kind of be a bummer, say maybe you took a trip to Thailand during the busy season one year and you want to come back sooner, so you don't want to wait for the next year, and you had those favorite restaurants and stuff that you got to spend time at when you were here, and then you come back during the slow season, and unfortunately sometimes some places do close for the season. It's much more like the mom and pop shops. Usually all the chains and stuff will stay open, but if you found some cool little Thai spot or something, granted, not all the time, but sometimes unfortunately you might come back and you might be disappointed. So that's something to think about too. You won't have as readily available just everything open like you might be used to. It can be a little bit different if you come back, so that's also something to think about. But in comparison, it's pretty unlikely. I don't know what it is about like Wi-Fi and phone stores, but they just stress me out. I don't know why. It's like I'm just here to pay a bill and I just have anxiety. Another thing, unfortunately, that you are gonna lose some access to, especially if you're here in Pattaya, that's access to Koh Larn. So it's still possible to get there. The ferries and everything still run, but a lot of the speedboats won't. They just kind of park everything up while it's raining, just because they assume a lot of people aren't gonna wanna go out there. And when it's raining bad here in Pattaya, it's usually raining really bad out there. So if that's something on your list, if you do want to do some island stuff, now granted, it doesn't rain every day, all day. Sometimes you can sneak a day in, sometimes you can get lucky, but there will be like 2 or 3 week stints where it does rain every single day. And you are gonna lose access to some stuff like that, as well as some other things on the beach here in town. But luckily, there are other things to do. Now, Now, granted, where I come from, when it's raining, everybody kind of runs outside because I grew up in the desert. We never really see it. So when it rains there, everybody runs outside, plays in the rain, plays in the mud, and it's a good time. But here in Thailand, it rains all the time. So they do have everything kind of set up to where you can kind of get around it. You might be able to hear above me my probably most favorite pastime, MVP, 96, 97, back-to-back champion, air hockey. So you could always come, play some video games if that's not your thing. All these malls have movie theaters. You can come get some shopping in, come get some coffee, just kind of hang out and do your best to enjoy the rainy days. There are other things you can do. Obviously, all the bars and restaurants and all that stuff will still be open. They've all got roofs and they'd be happy to serve you some beers while you wait out the rain. That never goes away, especially here in Pattaya. Now you might be asking, well, Tempus, what do you do on the rainy days? Well, full disclosure, I kind of treat them as like chore days. So either I'll stay home and just relax, clean my condo, do laundry, anything like that, or I'll come out, run any errands I have to, come out, pay bills, come to the mall, maybe buy some stuff for the house that I need. So if you're being here long term, something you're gonna learn how to deal with. You learn how to get around it. You learn which places you could stay out of the rain if you really are worried about getting wet. And the whole torrential downpours here rarely happen. And if they do, they don't last very long. Usually it's just an all day, little bit of a drizzle, just enough to really be annoying. But you can't avoid it and just kind of plan accordingly. Another thing that I really like to do on these days, and a lot of Thais do as well, is going and getting some barbecue. Thai barbecue, and there are a few different styles, but to me, there's really nothing like sitting under a shoddy umbrella, eating a bowl of soup with questionable ingredients, sitting there, a bunch of steam, you're sweating, it's muggy, it's hot, but it's super worth it, and it's a good way to, you know, make a few new friends. So at the end of the day, what do I suggest? Well, if you're moving here, and you're gonna be here full time, I would suggest coming during the rainy season, because like we said earlier, it'll be easier for you to find a spot. You'll be able to lock in a contract a little bit cheaper, and you'll be able to get set up and have more options. If you're just coming for a visit and you can manage to come when it's not raining all the time, I would really suggest that. That way you're just not limited by anything that you want to do, or limited from anything you want to do by the weather, which is always nice. All your options are open. But either way, I still think it's plenty enjoyable here, even if it is raining all the time. You're good, go ahead. People worried about getting my shot. What a sweetheart. Moving here, come during rainy season. Get your options, get set up. If you're just coming for a visit, I would suggest trying to come during the good season. Everything's gonna be a little bit more crowded. It's gonna be more expensive, but you'll have all the options that you need. And let's be real, at the end of the day, a little bit of water never hurt anybody. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you'd like to learn more about Thailand, go down, drop a subscribe below, hit like on the video. That way YouTube knows this is what you wanna see. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cue the B-roll.